Hello traders, Nick Shaheen here looking at Peloton. I don't have a position in it. I have discussed it with friends and members, so let's see if we can make sense of this move here. So they reported earnings overnight, and on high volume, it's been setting higher highs, and of course higher lows in this case. Just looking at it, there was a clear breakout line somewhere around 70, between 70 and 74, and I'll point it out in a second. As far as what's going on right here, I do have a friend who's long into next week, I believe, and their longs were too aggressive in my opinion, but they were expecting even bigger, which is the point of this video. It's the move is up still 2%, but their perception, well, they said, how come it's falling? And I looked at the stock and I was like, wait, it's still positive. So, but relative to the overnight high, which was in the 3 digits, I think they cracked over 100 by a little bit on the headline, and they fell. So they crushed it, I hear, and they're speaking good stuff going forward. First of all, I don't like chasing stocks into all-time highs. I understand this is a COVID stock, but the math still has to work. Case in point, they haven't been able, they're sold out, right? So you can't sell what you don't have, basically. That's one thing. So too much of a good thing all in one burst is not so good. But they're saying good things that can sustain going forward, I guess. Also, they have competition. I went to the gym yesterday and it was packed. So more people are coming back, and not just it was packed with new faces, new old faces, people I haven't seen in over 6 months. Suddenly now they're back. Now they're comfortable with COVID and all of that. So they're back in the gym. I'm in California. So the gym has been open unofficially. So it's kind of like a speakeasy thing. But now they're allowed to open, I guess, openly. So I don't know how much Peloton is going to be riding this COVID thing. Plus, Lululemon has the mirror, and I'm sure all the other ones are going to have subscription models for the people who just don't want to go to the gym because... But here's the thing. If you don't go to work, if you don't go to the gym, what the hell are you going to do with your time? Right? So if you stop going to work because you work at home, now you don't leave, you might as well sell your car. I sold my car. I do not have a car because I work from home now, and I go to the gym and I borrow my son's car for that. And he's 19, he doesn't mind. So you got to do something with your life, right? So I don't know if the gym is out. I like going to the gym. I like seeing the people I know. So that's not a reason to short Peloton, but it's a reason to be reasonable with the upside expectation. So let's see what they have priced into it. Fundamentally, it's on you. So they have about 27 years worth of sales now inside the stock price. So the full year sales are X, and the stock price is 27 times that. Let's see here. But this doesn't show, the full year sales, is it 6 months since COVID? So does that show the COVID spike, half of it? So we'll see. The revenue, almost $1 billion. So it's not telling the whole story, but it's not cheap, is what I'm saying. Not a reason to short it. It's an aggressively growing stock. Okay, so let's put the lines. This is where I know what to do. Regardless of what there we go. I already marked them up for the friend I was discussing offline. So this is the daily chart. I don't even need to get any smarter than this one. The other one wasn't. So I'm looking at this and this. You think this was a coincidence? It was not. And this. And this. So this would be the base in my opinion. But technically this or this or this are the base for this whole rally. So everywhere you go, you'll see a place where they fought, came back, broke out, used it as floor. Fought, broke out, they have not used it as floor yet. Fought, broke out, they have not used it as floor yet. Well, one time here. But they have not needed to. So every level like that, this is kind of a mess. Maybe here. Maybe here. But you can see that there's a lot of room to give without changing the fact that the bulls are in charge. Look, every dip has been bought. So even if they do whatever they want to do, time passes, and they meet this trend line, the bulls are still in charge over a daily chart. So let's see if we can get some smarter, shorter term lines for our friends who actively trade it. Maybe 60 minute. Okay, so this is a 1 hour chart. Bulls are in charge, even on this one. So the first line that they need to hold is 86, let's call it 86. And if they lose that line, they could give back a little bit more to another line. I mean, here there's steps. Look, step, step, failed, then they came back, step. So now this level becomes a bogey, a resistance level. What is this candle right here? So if I were to put a line to where I would short it for a trade into 93 and definitely into these two peaks, and I think overnight the high was like 100 point whatever it was, 5, 8, I can't remember. So this is something to where the bears can say, okay, we've got a few failing points, I can short against these failing points if somebody wants to short it. But I'm not advocating shorting it. I'm looking at candles that matter. Whoopsies. This is a candle that matter. This one that matters, this one matters, and they're all in the same bulk. So 80, 85, 86, 86 matters, 85 through 82 matter, and then basically down to 70s. But that'll piss off people if I even mention it. I'm not calling it down there, I'm just picking up levels that matter. Depends on, if I'm long shares, I shouldn't worry about it. If I love the company, nothing has changed, they just delivered, and they told me things are great. If I'm looking to get long shares, I don't see the rush to buy them. I mean, it's not a dip, that's for sure. If I was long already and I'm suffering, like if I bought short-term calls at 110, they're probably not going to come. If I sold put spreads down here, I'm okay. If I sold put spreads at the money, I'm sweating. So this will need the whole market move to help it come out of this and attack the failures. This by no means is a shorting, is a short the stock call, that's for sure, because I don't want to bet against who's in control. The buyers are in control. I'll start shorting it when the buyers stop being in control. Something like Twilio, the buyers were in total control, and now suddenly they're not. I had one candle, this one, and they have not closed above it. I pointed it out when we were down here. I said, I wonder if we were going to come back to it. They came back to it, but they did not close above it. So that worried me a little bit. The old Twilio would not have done that. So now we have a depleting Twilio. I'm not calling it down here. This is just something to watch out for. You should see a video about that. But this is the point of a stock where the control may have passed over, even on a daily chart, to the sellers. So on the smaller time frames, for sure, the sellers are in control on a smaller time frame. So in our case, Peloton, that's not evident. 5 minute, not even on the 5 minute chart. So the buyers are still in control. When the buyer is in control, they buy the dip. What dip? Depends on the time frame you're talking about. So this is definitely not a short the stock opportunity, but it's definitely not it's going to 110 tomorrow obvious opportunity. So the earnings did nothing to change what was going on. The thesis was this is a grower for a long, long time. It's a trend that's going that way, blah, blah, blah. That hasn't changed. They delivered on their promise, I think, and they raised guidance. I'm not sure, but that's up to you. So I don't think the story changed that way. All these levels here are long gone. They will come back into play at some point. The markets will crash at some point. But there's nothing imminent here. So hopefully this helps for the short-term players. Like if I had calls, I would probably salvage because my calls were bet on earnings, right? Especially if it was an earnings bet. I would salvage what's left of them. If I sold the put spread that's in the money now and it's a little bit red, I would take it out and put it somewhere where it has a chance of surviving with some more time on the clock, because the trade over the earnings is gone. It spiked and it's fading. And now onus is on the bull to hold the level so it doesn't fade, really fade. Okay, Nick signing out.